Grueling Truth Big Ten Tournament Preview Show. And as always, the Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Check them out now at betting.net. I am your co-host for our Big Ten Preview Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host, 1981 national champion, a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good today, Mike. How about yourself?
I'm all right. I mean, it
Are
was
you all
summer
right?
here. It was like spring here yesterday. It was 70 degrees, and now it's back to 45, raining, and feels like crap out.
Have the Bengals traded Burrow to the Colts yet?
That will never happen, Steve.
Oh,
That's
I
only
don't.
in
No,
your
there's no
dreams.
such word as never. Don't ever use the word ever and never
Well, they
or
would probably have
always.
to move the team right after that.
Okay, well, that might be a financial windfall for the Browns too. But anyway,
All right, here we
so we
go.
got March Madness beginning this week, don't we? Here we go.
Yes, Big Ten tournament. I think the Big Ten, when you look at the Big Ten, I think it's been fairly mediocre this year, Steve. I think the three teams at the top are by far the best three teams, and then you got a group in the middle and a group at the end. And to me, I think it's been kind of disappointing.
I disagree with you, Mike. I think it's been, and I watched some videos today from other prognosticators that come on, and I think the general consensus is this has been a very good year for the Big Ten. There's been a lot of balance. You look at the conference records here. Wisconsin wins the conference, or Illinois technically wins it, but both teams at 15-5, and you've got to go all the way down to Indiana. I think in the 8th at 9-11 before you start really falling off. With Maryland at 7-13, Northwestern at 7-13. Penn State at 4-16, and Nebraska. Other than that, you've got a lot of balance in the Big Ten this year. I think there's a lot of good players, and led probably by Kofi Cockburn.
Coburn! Coburn!
I'm reading.
Jeez.
I'm speaking it as I read it.
Okay.
So Coburn, what is it?
Kofi Coburn and Johnny
Coburn. All right.
Davis.
Well, it's spelled Cockburn. Dadgummit.
But it's Coburn.
All right. Well, I'm a phonetical genius. I as I see it, I say it.
Okay.
Johnny Davis, obviously for Wisconsin, he had an ankle injury, but all indications are he's back and ready to go on Thursday when Wisconsin opens play, or actually not till Friday. So he's got till Friday to heal that thing. All indications indicate it's just a mid ankle sprain. Not going to take him out. Keegan Murray for Iowa, a really upstart player, leading Iowa and making Iowa a very dangerous team to play all
Yeah,
season
I would
long.
think this, Steve. If you look at the last 6 or 7 games of the season, Iowa's been the best team. I think they've won 6 out of 8 or six
They're,
out of seven.
they are incredibly dangerous, Mike. I love the way Iowa play. They play like the old Indiana teams that I'm familiar with, that I played on, and that played my predecessors in the 70s, early 70s, mid 70s, and early into the 80s. Very physical ball club. They will pound you and beat you. And Keegan Murray's been their star player and a leader for them. Jade Ivey for Purdue, considered a lottery pick in most by most. I think even Mel Kifer thinks that Jade Ivey is a lottery pick
Who's
in
Mel
the
Kifer?
NBA draft, and we all know what we think of Mel Kifer's picks. He's the one who said the Colts were a dumbass for taking Peyton Manning. That we should have
No,
taken
he
Ryan
didn't.
Leaf.
He did not. The dumbass comment was about taking Trev Alberts.
Oh, okay.
Remember the linebacker for
Yeah, that was a
Nebraska?
dumbass move. Yeah.
Yeah, he was right in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then you got EJ Liddell from OSU, who ate Indiana up, and we've seen him play very well. So it's a good complement of players. We haven't even talked about Trace Jackson Davis. There's a lot of mid-range players in there. Race Thompson for Indiana. I mean, I don't agree with you in the sense that it's a bad down year for the Big
I
Ten.
never said it was
I
a
think it was
bad down year. I think
it
that
was a balanced year. I think,
yeah,
and
which
that
is
made
a
it
bad year.
compress and kept everything together. I think this tournament, Mike, is wide open. I think you got your 3 or 4 teams that are going to be the favorites that if you're going to go and bet, you want to bet on those teams most likely. But I'm going to tell you what, there's going to be a lot of games that are won by teams that we didn't expect to win that we legitimately can't probably call an upset.
I think that there'll be a couple of them, and we're going to get to that. And we might as well start off with the JV day of the tournament, which is Wednesday, where we have the 4 bottom teams. And we're going to start off with Northwestern and Nebraska, Steve. When you look at Northwestern and Nebraska, who do you like in this one?
Well, Nebraska's on a 3-game winning streak, all on the road. They have beat Penn State. They have beat OSU, and then they pulled the upset win over Wisconsin. Now, of course, Davis took the ankle sprain with about 17 minutes to go in the second half and did not return to the game. So that probably was a big factor in that game of losing Johnny Davis for half the game for Wisconsin. But, you got Fred Hoiberg, whose coaching ass is on the line here. Whether he can save it or not with an overall record of 4-16 in the Big Ten and 10-21 overall. I don't know if he can or not, but certainly closing out the season on a 3-game skid or 3 games winning streak, all on the road against these teams is a good thing for Nebraska. I think this is a clear-cut pick. Nebraska takes this one easily.
Yeah, I think it's a clear-cut pick too. I'm taking Northwestern. They've handled Nebraska twice this season, and they did it convincingly on both games. And the thing is this, you can give me a 2 or 3 game streak at the end of the season, but Nebraska has been a bad team all year, and I think that Collins at Northwestern is a better coach. I don't think it's clear-cut. I think Northwestern beats Nebraska.
Okay, so we disagree on that one.
All right.
And I wish somebody had given Indiana a 3-game winning streak at the end of the season.
Yeah, things would not be the same then, would they?
No, okay,
All right.
So we're
Next
split
up.
on Nebraska Northwestern.
Yeah, next up we've got Penn State playing Minnesota. I'll go ahead and go first on this one. Now, these teams split their 2 matchups this season, with Minnesota winning a close one at home. Penn State won by a blowout at their place. Both teams play hard. I think Penn State has been playing better, though. They gave Ohio State all they could handle the other day. I think the Nittany Lions they're really good at controlling the tempo, and I think they do it here. I think they get a 10-point win over Minnesota. But the one thing I will say about all 4 of these bottom teams, and why I didn't say that the Big Ten had a bad year. I thought it was a mediocre year compared to what I thought it was going to be, because I think teams like Ohio State and Michigan, and even Michigan State at the end of the year, really underperformed. But these bottom 4 teams, when I said JV day, I'm kidding completely, because I respect the hell out of all 4 of these teams, because all 4 of these teams play hard all the time, and they're capable of beating anybody on any given day. I'm going to go with Penn State, though, in this one.
I agree. I agree entirely. Minnesota is a tale of 2 teams. Of course, so is Penn State. You look at the home record. Both Minnesota goes 4-16, 13-16 overall. Penn State 7-13 in the Big Ten, 12-16 overall. At home, Penn State's 10-5, Minnesota's 8-7. On the road, which essentially teams like this are playing on the road, Penn State's 1-10, Minnesota 3-9. So this is definitely 2 teams that prosper at home much greater than they do on the road, and both of them playing in what the hell is the name of the arena now?
Bainbridge Arena or something.
Bainbridge Arena. Okay, it's going to be on from Conseco to whatever. I can't even name all the names. And that's really not relevant. But I'm going to go with Penn State on this one. The Nittany Lions will come through in this one.
All right, before we get to the Thursday games, which will be headlined by Michigan and Indiana, I want to remind you, if you want to bet on March Madness this year, that your top sportsbook comparison site, betting.net, offers extensive reviews on the best sportsbooks out there. Also, make sure you check out Caesars Sportsbook, which will be in the description of the YouTube video. You can go there and get click for all the bonus offers, everything you can get from them. So make sure you check out Caesars Sportsbook. All right, Steve, we've got to the main game for us, which is the Michigan Wolverines against the Indiana Hoosiers. I'll let you go first here.
Yeah, a lot of things at stake here for both teams. By all accounts, from everything that I studied today and listened to and read, Michigan is in the tournament according to all these prognosticators. They have a slot. They're not a bubble team at this point in time. Now, it's not what I've seen on some of the shows that I've seen, but as at the end of the Big Ten play yesterday, most people, if they don't screw it up, Michigan has a slot already set
Yeah,
for
but they
them.
can screw it up by losing on Thursday.
Yeah, they don't screw it up by losing on Thursday. But even then, they think that Michigan will be able to withstand that. Indiana's a little different camp. It is consistently listed now as first team out or in the first four out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we got some things going on here. It's the return of Juwan Howard. I don't know if that's an advantage for Michigan or a disadvantage for Michigan. Martelli has done a good job with this ball club and kind of righted the ship a little bit for this team. Probably some of their late season surge. They come off a win on was it Sunday they played?
Yeah, they beat Ohio State where Martelli went small, and they just wore Ohio State out. And the thing about Martelli is, I can't believe he's not a head coach. I mean, he's won 447 games in his career. I mean, what do you got to do to be a head coach?
Wait till the end of the year. That may happen faster.
Yeah, especially those last couple wins don't hurt.
Juwan Howard may be back doing NBA broadcasts on.
Well, how about this, Steve? We know in this game, Indiana's got to be ready for him to start because Michigan's going to come out swinging.
And we well know Indiana's problems.
Yeah, we do. So who wins, Indiana or Michigan?
Well, I'm going to plead Homer here. I'm going to plead Homer here, and I listened to, again, I was listening to everybody's opinions all day, and they talked about lately toward the last half of the Big Ten, Michigan's been on a win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one streak.
Hey, real quick, Joseph Michael says IU's going to win 3 games and make it in. But he lives in VV. They smoke those left-handed cigarettes.
Well, Joseph smokes good stuff that he confiscates from his criminal friends anyway.
Either that or you drive it out to him since you guys are best friends in the world now.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, we are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're picking Indiana, Michigan, Steve, and I'll tell you what we're going to do is...
Wait a minute, I'm not done yet.
I know. I'm trying to tell you to pick Indiana, Michigan.
I'm going to right now is since Michigan won on Sunday against OSU, it's their turn to lose. I think they lose to Indiana. Indiana plays at home in front of a very partisan crowd for them. An 11:30 game, which, Jesus, out here it's 8:30. I got to get up at 8 o'clock and take a shower and brush my teeth and shave and do all that the 3 F's.
You know, Steve, most people have to get up at 7 in the morning to shave and go to work, so I wouldn't complain too much about it.
No, you're right. I shouldn't complain too much. But anyway, I'm going to take Indiana to pull this one off. I think it will be a little bit of an upset if they do, because we both know how talented Michigan truly is as a basketball club. Just, I think, due to coaching or whatever the reason, they were never able to gel and put it together. They've started to with Martelli. It's a question of how much does Howard want to ego himself back into this thing or be smart enough to realize Martelli can carry him deep into this Big Ten tournament. But I'm going with Indiana.
All right. Michigan beat Indiana 80-62, January 23rd at Simon Scott Assembly Hall. The Wolverines have beaten Indiana 9 consecutive times. Juwan Howard will be back patrolling the sideline for the Wolverines. I think that's an advantage for Indiana. Mm-hmm. Michigan is a streaky team. I mean, one game they'll come out and blow out Ohio State. The next game they'll lose to Penn State. It's been back and forth like that all year. They're coming off a huge win against Ohio State. I think it's hard to beat the Indiana Hoosiers 10 consecutive times. I think the law of averages catches up here. I'm going to go with you, Steve. I like Indiana in the upset over Michigan, which brings us to Michigan State against Maryland. Now, Michigan State is a team, Steve, that I think is kind of...
Are we bypassing the Iowa-Nebraska game?
Huh?
Iowa Northwestern?
No, I just missed it. We'll come back to it.
Okay, all right. So we're going to Michigan State, Maryland.
Yeah, Michigan State, Maryland, because it's I got 2 different things here that I'm reading the schedule off of.
Yeah, I know. I've got all kinds of sheets in front of me, too.
All right,
Where
Michigan
are
State.
our interns, Mike? Where are our interns?
They left a few years ago. They got tired of our
Okay.
crap. All right, Michigan State versus
Well,
Maryland.
double their pay.
These teams are playing a rematch of Sunday's season finale, which was controlled by Michigan State 77-67. This is a game, though, where Michigan State went up, I think it was almost 20 points at the half. I think look for a similar type of game, only much closer. I don't think Michigan State will get the early run. I don't trust the Spartans, but I don't trust the Terrapins. Fats Russell could keep them in the game and possibly win the game. I'm going to go with Michigan State, something like 75-70, though, Steve.
Yeah, I'm going Michigan State too. I think Izzo's the difference in this game. I think even though he doesn't have a talented team that we're used to seeing Michigan State put on in tournament time, when Michigan State generally starts to excel, and not to mention the first episode of Winning Time, the story of the
Don't
Los
talk
Angeles
about it. I haven't
Lakers.
seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't?
They can't talk about it yet.
Okay, all right. Go back and watch reruns of 1883.
All right, Michigan State or Maryland, Steve? What do you think?
I got Michigan State pulling this one off.
All right, next up, you've got Nebraska versus Iowa. I've got
You've got Northwestern. Anybody versus Iowa. I'm taking Iowa. Lock, stock, and barrel.
Yeah, I'm taking Iowa.
Keegan Murray's the difference here. I think he's too tough a player. Iowa plays very physical ball. This comes down a lot to if the Big Ten tournament's going to let them play physical or not. That can help Iowa in a huge way, in my opinion, or it can hamper them. Because if they start calling it, nitpicky crap fouls and a lot of flagrant ones or flagrant twos or whatever, I think that Iowa could be in a little bit of trouble. I think Keegan Murray can carry this team against either Northwestern or Nebraska. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. I agree. Iowa advances. Next up, we've got the last second round game of Thursday. Is Ohio State versus Penn State, Steve. Who do you like?
I like Ohio State. I mean, got to go with Ohio State. Liddell is just a force I don't think many teams in the Big Ten have an answer to inside. I don't think Penn State has that answer for sure. And there'll be a lot of Ohio State fans over there traveling over from Columbus. It's not that far of a drive to get to. So I think Ohio State probably will have the second biggest contingent there, or third, maybe IU and Purdue, and then Ohio State. So I got Ohio State winning this one. It's a home game to them as far as I'm concerned. And they got Liddell.
All right. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to take Penn State to win this game.
Wow.
All right. Ohio State looked great against Michigan State. I mean, but what is that? Ohio State lost at home to Nebraska by 8. They got beat by Maryland by 15. They lost at home to Ohio State. They beat Illinois. But after that Illinois win, you've had a 15-point loss to Maryland. You've had an 8-point loss to Nebraska. They did beat Michigan State, but then they lost by 6. So they've lost 2 games at home anyways. And the other thing you got to remember, Steve, is this. Last game of the night, even if they have more fans there than everybody else, every other team that has a fan there is going to be cheering for the underdog. So I think that helps them immeasurably there.
Yeah, but how much are you thinking of Papa Joe and who was his idiot assistant coach, Jerry? What was his name?
What does that have to do with the basketball?
That's Penn State, man. Penn State's got a negative nobody's going to cheer for Penn State anymore.
Yeah, they would. Why
you got to go all the way back. You've got to go all the way back to John Capoletti and his little brother or something to really want to root for. Huh?
There's something for Joey.
Yeah, you got to go back that far to want to root for Penn State.
I want to root for Penn State because I hate the Ohio State Buckeyes. But if you look, Penn State lost by 1 to Rutgers.
Do you hate High Street?
Huh?
Do you hate High Street?
What's High Street?
You've never partied on High Street.
For what, Ohio State?
I've
been to Columbus one time.
It's a street right that splits the campus pretty much. It's High Street. It is a bar mecca. Cincinnati is famous for all of its little districts that have all the bars and the lighthouse and all that, and it's Skyline Chili. High Street in Columbus I remember the Serene Lounge and the library. I don't remember everything I did there, but I know I liked going to those places every year. We traveled to Ohio State to play, And
Yeah, and I would like to put a disclaimer there. It does not mean Risley has CTE or anything. It's just that he's getting older and he really can't remember what he's done in
no,
the
that was
past.
40-something years ago. No.
Doesn't
A
even
lot
mean he
of
was
it, I've been
drinking.
married 38, and I don't want to remember.
Oh, that was a shot. I'm sorry. I hope Tia doesn't watch the show. All right, the third round. We're going to go
She's standing
Indiana.
right here next to me.
And has she heard what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't married then.
Indiana versus Illinois. Steve, you still going to be a homer?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I think that's where I think what Indiana needs to do here to get a tournament bid is they need to either win the game, which I don't think they're going to do. I think that they don't have anything for Coburn. Coburn.
You got it. You got it before you say nasty words.
Okay. No, there's nothing wrong with Cockburn. That's his name.
I don't know. Have you ever had a cockburn? Because I think there's something
No,
wrong with
I
it.
am not. I've
You
never
haven't?
gone to a nude beach.
I thought you went to High.
Cockburn.
Well, I thought you could get that at High Street in Columbus.
No, it's dark in those places.
I know Joseph Michael's gotten one in Columbus before, but that was back in the old days.
Oh, man. Joseph Michael Rooster.
Yeah, Rooster. That was
Rooster Cogburn. That was Cogburn. C-O-G Burn.
Yeah.
From John Wayne.
Yeah.
From True Grit. Come on.
All right. Indiana versus
no,
Illinois.
I think Indiana needs to do one of two things here. They either win this game, which I don't think they're going to do. I think that what we've seen, I think they have the personnel to do it. I think that for Coburn to have to handle both Trace Jackson Davis and Race Thompson, that could be a big load on Coburn to have to do that. But I don't know if Indiana's capable of putting those two guys on the court and having a good game together. They haven't done it in quite a while.
I think Indiana has a shot here. We've seen Illinois get beat by teams that are lesser. I think the huge thing here is if they can get, I would attack Coburn. I would attack him with my guards. I would drive on him, and I would try to get his ass in foul trouble because if you get him in foul trouble, you can beat him. And I'm saying this right now: Indiana will get him in foul trouble, and Indiana will win this game.
Then I would change my vote and align with you automatically. I would send Johnson right after.
Johnson go right at him. I'd tell Jackson Davis to go right at him.
Yeah, just take him to the hole every time and force him into foul trouble. That's how you're going to beat Illinois. That's what Indiana has.
I'm going to say this.
Indiana's got the personnel to do that. Do they have the coaching right now to do that and the mentality to do that? You know, to understand that's a simple thing. Don't play them. Get him out of the game. You don't want to play Coburn. Get him out of the game. Jiminy Christmas, how many times did I hear Knight say that? Just get the son of a bitch out of the game, Risley. Make him swing at you. Do something. Get him out of the game.
All right. Steve, we're going to move on now before you go into that dementia state where we start talking about Bobby Knight in the 1980 Purdue game. We're going to go Rutgers versus Iowa. I guess I'm picking this one first.
This is interesting.
It's my turn to pick first, Steve. Chill out.
I know. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And
I'm excited.
As we said,
I studied for this, Mike.
I can tell, Steve. I'm actually getting excited doing the show. I thought we'd be done by now. Iowa's been the hottest team in the league over the past month, and Rutgers has gone 6-4 over those 10 games. Kind of like Michigan over the last month, where they'll jump up and they'll smack somebody that's a really good team, and you'll think they're really getting it, and they lose. Now, these two teams played at the start of the Big Ten season. Rutgers won 49-48 at Rutgers. This game will not be that low scoring. I think it has to be low scoring for Rutgers to win it. I think the Hawkeyes, with Murray, they can put the points up. And I think the thing that's really flipped the switch for Iowa this year is the defense is probably in the top half of the Big Ten, probably 6th or 7th, which I think a lot of people thought they wouldn't be that good defensively. I don't think Rutgers will have enough offensive weapons to keep up with Iowa. I think Iowa wins this game, Steve.
This is a toss-up to me, Mike. I mean, I'll make a pick here, but I think that it's perimeter shooting versus physicality to me in this game. Iowa or Rutgers handled Iowa or Indiana at home with its three-point shooting. Ron Harper Jr. stepping up and draining threes. I think if you go to sleep on the perimeter defense against Rutgers, they will destroy you. I mean, it's a good shooting basketball club. And again, it's depending on how the referees are going to call this game. If they let them go physical, although I think Rutgers is a fairly physical team as well. They're one of the more, I would put them in the meter scale in the more physical side
Well, I
than
think
the finesse
Rutgers
side.
Rutgers is one of the 2 or 3 most physical teams in the Big Ten. Iowa,
Right.
I don't think is
And
a.
Iowa,
I
well, I
don't think
think
Iowa's a physical team.
I do. I think Iowa plays a physical brand of basketball. Maybe it's me thinking of Iowa a lot from when
You
I
are.
played against them. I always relished playing Wisconsin and Iowa because those were two of the most physical teams in the Big Ten, and I love banging with anybody. I mean, there was nobody I feared in the Big Ten, and that was the same way with all my teammates. But anyway, that's a sidebar that
Are
we
you
don't
going
need
to
to go
pick
down right
somebody
now.
here, Steve?
Huh?
Pick somebody.
I'm going
Rutgers and
to.
Iowa.
I'm working on it. I've got to go. I've got to go with Keegan Murray in Iowa in this game. But I'm gonna tell you what: if Harper gets hot and you don't play that perimeter defense well, you're in for a long night against Rutgers. So, but I'm gonna go with Iowa in this game to move forward.
All right, next up, we've got Wisconsin versus Michigan State. Steve, you're up.
Um, a lot of this depends on Johnny Davis, how effective he's going to be. This will be his first game back. I believe he will start and he will play. We won't know how sore the ankle will be, obviously, until he gets out there and how limited mobility he's going to have, if any. I'd say tape that thing tight and give him a shot of cortisone, stick it in that ankle, and let him play. Of course, the guy's a lottery pick in the draft. So, do you want to trash your career, or do you want to sit back and save him for the dance, which Wisconsin's solidly in? So it's not that big of a deal. But I definitely am going to take Wisconsin in this game. I think they're too solid of a team. And Michigan State, while they have maybe the better coach here, I don't think they have the personnel to match Wisconsin's personnel.
All right, I agree with you. If Johnny Davis plays, the Badgers will win. I think the Spartans win if he doesn't play, but I think Johnny Davis will play.
It's a toss-up game if he doesn't play.
Yeah, it's a toss-up game, which will tell you about Michigan State, because even if you take Johnny Davis away, I'm still not 100% convinced Michigan State could still beat Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Michigan State has not looked good over the last 10 games or so, except for the game against Purdue and a game against Iowa. The rest of the time's been a little shaky. I'm going to agree with you, though. I'm going to go with the Badgers to advance to the semifinals also, Steve. And that brings us to Purdue. The Purdue Boilermakers will play Penn State. I think Purdue will win this game, but I think it will be tight for most of the game. I think Purdue will pull away in the last 10 or 15 minutes and win something like 69-56.
Yeah, I've got them playing Ohio State, which I think presents a little bit better matchup. I think Liddell can really give Purdue some fits. I think they've got the big 7-foot guy, but he is a gump of all gumps I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how I don't think the guy can walk and chew gum.
Well, they act like he's the next great thing in college basketball. He looks like Chuck Nevitt to me.
He looks like that's a great call, Chuck Nevitt. I was going to say Swin Nader, but I'd be doing a disservice to Swin Nader.
Yeah, Swin could play.
Swin could play. Yeah, you're right. But I've got OSU playing Purdue. You've got Penn State. Either way, I think Purdue marches on here. I think Purdue is a solid basketball club. They are well coached. This is not the NCAA tournament, so we can pretty well rest assured that Purdue won't choke yet. They wait for the dance to have that happen. And I think Purdue is very capable of winning the Big Ten tournament and maybe my favorite team to win it at this point in time. But, Purdue moves on.
All right, head over now and see for yourself. Betting.net makes it easy to find all the legal online casinos or sportsbook in your state. Check out betting.net. All right, guys, we are to the semifinals. And I believe it is Indiana versus Iowa. Steve, you've got Illinois versus Iowa, correct?
Correct.
So who do you like, Illinois or Iowa?
I like your pick better than mine, Mike. I really do, as a homer. But I have a service to do to our sponsor, and to the betting and the people listening to us for sound advice, not homerness. So I can't go homer
I
on
didn't
this.
homer it. I really think Indiana wins that game against Illinois.
Okay, well, and I'm going to be the first one to call you and kiss you on the phone
He lost us on the phone.
if that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got Illinois and Iowa here, and I just think Illinois and Coburn are just too strong. I think they are the most dangerous team in the Big Ten, and have a very solid ball club. I've got Illinois beating Iowa or Indiana, whoever they play.
Well,
I think Illinois will.
Remember this.
Illinois wouldn't be in there if Indiana won. So
Iowa yesterday or the day before yesterday went to Illinois, had a 15-point lead. Illinois was lucky to escape with a 2-point win. So you took Iowa or Illinois in this game? Illinois?
I took Illinois.
All right. I'm going to take Iowa over Indiana. I'm not a homer. I just think that Illinois, if Indiana attacks them, they can. So I'm a homer because I'm actually projecting what I want Mike Woodson to do onto this game, which I probably shouldn't do or will probably cost me. But when I look at Iowa, Indiana, I think Iowa wins the game. I think they're consistently a better shooting team. And I have Iowa advancing to the championship game. And then I have Purdue against Wisconsin. Is that the same thing you had, Steve?
Yes, I have Purdue against Wisconsin.
All right. Now, Wisconsin won both games during the regular season. It's hard to beat a really good team 3 times in one season.
And Purdue is a very good team.
And I think that I will take Purdue in a tight win, like 72-70 over Wisconsin, Steve.
I'll mirror you entirely on that one, Mike. I'll take Purdue in a very close ball game. This is another game that can go either way. So I'm going to be a little bit of a Purdue homer here because it's an Indiana State school, and I'm a very big fan of their coach. I'm drawing a blank.
Painter.
What's your coach? Painter, Matt Painter. God.
Yeah.
Guys, I got his phone number in my Rolodex. Jimmy,
let's call him. Call him.
He's busy right now.
You don't know that.
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No,
so I know what he does this time of night. So,
what's he do, Steve?
That's not for radio consumption.
Oh, it's that bad. All right, Purdue, Wisconsin.
No, it's not.
Purdue, Wisconsin, Steve. Who you got?
I got Purdue.
All right. So your championship game is Illinois against Purdue, correct?
Yes.
Who do you
correct.
like?
I like Purdue to win the Big Ten. I think Purdue's going to streak here real quick. They're going to shoot their missiles early, and they're going to win the Big Ten tournament.
Bad time to use that phrase, Steve.
Only if you're in Ukraine.
Hey, dude, I looked today, and yesterday, there was 800 people from Ukraine that clicked on our website and were like, what the hell are you doing? Must be in Western Ukraine. Must be in Western Ukraine.
I hope they have bigger problems than to listen to us.
I hope they don't have bigger problems than to listen to us.
Well, I hope they don't, but I hope they're taking better care of themselves.
All right, so you like Purdue to win the Big Ten championship.
I like Purdue to beat Illinois in the Big Ten championship in a nail biter. This is Ivy versus Coburn.
Coburn.
You know, two legitimate first-round picks in the NBA draft this year. With Ivy looking to be a lottery pick, Coburn probably definitely a lottery pick. So I think it's going to be a great game, great matchup. But I think somehow because of the crowd, this is going to be pretty much on this game going to be a pretty staunch Purdue crowd in Indianapolis. So I think all factors line up toward Purdue winning this game.
All right, I've got Iowa versus Purdue in the championship game. Purdue won the only meeting between these two teams, 83-73, really early in the season. Since that game, I think Iowa has improved more than Purdue, and I think that Purdue has looked very vulnerable late in this season. I think Iowa gets to win 84-79, and the Iowa Hawkeyes win the Big Ten championship, Steve.
Okay. That's not a bad pick, Mike. I mean, that's why I'm saying when we lit the show up, there's balance. I don't know that there's a clear-cut favorite. I think Iowa's as good a choice as anybody. They're not a favorite pick, but I think they're definitely a realistic pick,
All right.
especially from somebody who's a basketball aficionado as yourself, who
Did you say
studies this game and knows the Big Ten inside and out.
did you say aficionado?
Aficionado.
Aficionado.
Well, there's an aficionado, which is, and an aficionado.
Was it
Aficionado is true. Aficionado is what the guys at You Bet Your Life for Sports, what was it called? Sports or Consequences on WLW Radio.
Yeah.
700, one of the greatest radio stations, AM radio stations in the history of AM radio stations. It's a power station. You know it? It's one of only like 550.
It was the first one in the 1950s.
50,000 watched
38 states. Yeah.
WOWO out of Fort Wayne is one. WGN is one. WLS. So, Sports of Consequences with Trumpy and Campbell and
Andy Mack,
Burbank.
Trumpy from time to time.
Time. Gary Burbank, Mike, was it Campbell? Mike
McConnell.
The lawyer. Mike McConnell.
Bill Cunningham.
Bill
Cunningham was on there. And then he became, like a poor man's Jerry Springer and started doing his daily talk show with Trailer Park Trash. Real quick, I want to remind everybody, if you're going to bet on the Big Ten Championships, Big Ten Tournament, or any games in March Madness, find the best place to bet for you. Betting.net offers expert news reviews for every online sportsbook and casino in your state. Check them out. Steve, any final parting words before we wrap it up?
No, go IU. I mean, that's my homerness coming out, but I'm excited to watch this Big Ten tournament. I think it's going to be a dang good tournament, and we could be dead wrong, and I wouldn't feel bad about it because I think a lot of these games are going to be really close. I don't think there's going to be a lot of blowouts in this tournament.
All right, so Steve, you want to go Thursday right after the game?
Please, can we?
All right, Thursday will be somewhere between 1:30 and 2 after the Indiana-Michigan second round Big Ten tournament.
Can I have some time to eat my bowl of Cheerios?
Well,
that's a breakfast game for me.
It's a breakfast game for me too, Steve. I don't want to hear it. I wake up at 10 every morning, which is fine, but I work then. But now you got a game starting at 11:30. I only have like an hour and a half.
I have a game starting at 8:30.
Yeah. So I was really more worried about what my game was doing. But all right, we're going to go ahead and you can follow Steve Risley at SRisley34. You can follow me at Grueling Truth. Tomorrow night, do we have a show? Let's see. Our NFL show will be back Wednesday night at 9. Tomorrow night, do we have a NASCAR show, Steve?
I don't know. I think Joe wants to do one. So, and God, he's a police officer, so I'm going to do whatever Joe wants to do and try and be a law-abiding citizen. So, count on a NASCAR show at about 7 o'clock Eastern time.
All right, so check out Joe and Steve with the NASCAR show tomorrow.
And I'm going to tell you what, our NASCAR show is good. It's to die for. It is really, it is.
It's to die for?
It's to die for, unless you're a driver. It's not that kind of a to die for.
Okay, Steve.
Okay. To die for is a thing like it's really hot.
Okay, so make sure you check out the really hot NASCAR show that's to die for with Steve Risley.
We're going to even have you on as a guest, Mike.
When's this?
Ask you about connecting rods and tie rods, which are the big problem now with the new next gen car.
Okay, I really don't
care,
Steve.
Which is causing all the wrecks and the right rear tires to wear excessively quickly.
All right, guys, and also tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, we will have, first time in like 4 months, we will have the Old Time Boxing Show. So make sure you check us out at 9 o'clock there. And remember the NFL show, Wednesday night at 9. But for now, hold on. Somebody made a comment. It's Joe. He said, right, Steve. Whatever the hell that means. He said,
I'm becoming a guru.
So
I'm becoming a guru, Mike.
Okay.
On the NASCAR show, Joe and I are becoming gurus.
You are. You're both big, fat gurus.
Wow.
What? No, I was just kidding because of what that one guy made the comments. It doesn't matter. He's banned. It'll never happen again.
We banned him.
I banned him. You were lucky I was on because neither one of you knew how to ban him.
No.
But, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We will be back Thursday after the Indiana basketball game with our Indiana Basketball Weekly Show. But until then, for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth.